Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. This week's tutorial is a bee in space done in colored pencil with powder blender. I have a list of the colors and materials I used for this painting available for free on Patreon. I'll have a card pop up with the link. For this bee, I am working on UArt 600 sanded paper in colored pencil and blending with powder blender to get the smooth look you see. The background is many layers of various blues, reds, and purples to get the galaxy effect you see. I blocked in the background first, blending the layers together to achieve a fairly saturated color. It did take quite a few layers to get to the color saturation I wanted. At this point, I grabbed a white pencil and a round object, and I traced around it so I could make the earth appear more round. Once I had my earth round, I went through and I filled it in with a flat blue, just to cover up some of the background and give myself a working surface. Once I got to the level of saturation I wanted, I sprayed several light layers of textured fixative, enough that I knew I wasn't going to be lifting any color, and I covered the central galaxy with black. It took several lightly blended layers to get some coverage. To get the galaxy effect, it was very important that I did not spray any textured fixative while I was adding the black. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for me to lift the color in the next step you see me do. I then used a stencil and kneaded eraser to remove some of the black to reveal the galaxy underneath. This is what creates the galaxy effect. I transferred my image back on so I'd have an accurate outline of the continent as well as the bee to work from. After fixing with the textured fixative, I blocked in the earth and the bee. It will take many layers of several blues to give the earth shape. I blocked the earth in first as a flat blue before adding different blues, and then moving on to the greens and browns. I wasn't too concerned with accuracy because I knew I was going to have clouds over top. I'm using some red in my water here just to desaturate the color a little bit and give it some more depth and darkness. I then begin by blocking in the desert in the southwest before moving on to the mountains. You'll notice that I'm using several different shades of browns and reds and greens to get all the colors on the continent. It's not just one flat color that's giving me the continent and the forests and deserts and mountains. It's going to be several to get, different textures in the earth. So I go through, I'm blending, I'm layering, I'm blending, I'm layering, just to get the images the way I want it to. I'll go through at some point and I'll add in the Great Lakes as well, and then I add in the Arctic. I blocked in the bee in a similar fashion using a flat gray before adding in the yellows, oranges, and blacks on top. The only part I didn't block in was the wing over the galaxy, as I wanted the galaxy to show through the translucent wing. While it doesn't show through perfectly, it does show through a little bit, just enough to give that translucent effect. This is a fuzzy little bee, so I'm going through and I'm adding short strokes in the direction that the fuzz is moving. It's taking many layers, but I'm going through and just layering in the colors, short little strokes in the direction, filling in the eye, the antenna. I'll go through and fill in the fuzz on the back. That's what this orange terracotta color is doing right now. I'm laying in a base of color with this. Going through, I'm just going to block in all of the different colors in different areas, making sure that I continue moving my pencil in the shape or the direction of the fuzz. I'm going through and I'm adding in the structure of the wing right here, adding in the shadows and some of the highlights. I'm using a cold gray number 1. That's giving me my highlights here. I'm taking care on this other wing, I don't want to cover up too much of the galaxy behind. So I'm using the black here to put in my veining, but I'm trying to leave the underlying colors so that it still appears to be translucent. Unfortunately, I had to work the galaxy in my lap, so you didn't get the full reveal until just now, but this is how it looked after I used the kneaded eraser to lift off the black with the stencil. And so this is the effect it creates. So you can see that the black still shows, and then I've got the red, the darker part of the galaxy underneath is showing more vibrant now. I added several layers, spraying fixative between each layer to prevent lifting or smudging. It did take several layers to get a good depth of coverage, both in my earth plant, my earth, and in the bee. Using my cold gray number 1 and my white pencil, I'm going through and I'm beginning to add in some clouds. I'm following the direction of the air currents, swirling here, swirling there, just to try to get some accuracy in the shape of the clouds. I'm blending some of them out, but I'm also leaving some of them harsh. It's just a layering process at this point. I don't want to press too hard and burnish the paper, so I'm just going through and adding layer after layer. The last little bit I'm doing here is I'm taking my white pencil and I'm just going through and adding little pops of white highlight here and there. Little bits in the clouds, just to make sure I've got good coverage. Little bits on the edges of the wing, the antenna, the legs. A little bit in the fuzz just to give it some highlighting. And that is it for this picture. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. I have new speed drawings go up every Monday and new speed tutorials every Wednesday. Please subscribe so you can stay informed of new videos. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.